Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once? I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it.
If you really want to hear about it, the first thing you'll probably want to know is where I was born and what my lousy childhood was like. But I don't feel like going into it if you want to know the truth. That stuff bores me, and my parents would have about 2 hemorrhages apiece if I told anything pretty personal about them. So begins J.D. Salinger's classic novel of teenage angst, The Catcher in the Rye. The hero narrator is Holden Caulfield, a 17-year-old boy who is essentially a rebel without a cause. The book has been one of the most frequently challenged and banned since its publication in 1951 because of its encouragement of rebellion, profanity, undermining of family values, and its themes of angst, promiscuity, and alienation. The book has also been linked to several murders and murder attempts, most famously the killing of John Lennon. Despite this, The Catcher in the Rye also happens to be one of the most taught books in United States schools. The story begins with Holden's expulsion from his school, Pensy Prep. After a violent altercation with his roommate, Holden packs up and leaves. He goes home to his native New York and checks into a hotel. Unable to face his parents, Holden decides to spend the last few days before Christmas break underground in the city.
It's not over till you're underground. It's not over before it's too late. This city's burning. It's not my burden. It's not over before it's too late.
Holden's days underground are largely spent drunken and lonely. During those 3 days underground, Holden encounters a prostitute and her pimp, goes on a disastrous date with an old flame, and eventually sneaks into his parents' house to visit his beloved little sister Phoebe, who is the only person Holden is able to really communicate with. Throughout the novel, Holden looks for understanding and acceptance from many different characters he encounters, including strangers and friends alike. But they all prove his point that the world is just a big sham. As a result, Holden feels alienated from the rest of the world. His sister Phoebe questions his negativity and asks him to name one thing he would like to be. In response, Holden says, "I keep picturing all these little kids playing some game in this big field of rye and all. Thousands of little kids, and nobody's around. Nobody big, I mean. Except me. What I have to do, I have to catch everybody if they start to go over the cliff. I mean, if they're running and they don't look where they're going. I have to come out from somewhere and catch them. That's all I do all day. I'd just be the catcher in the rye and all. I know it's crazy, but that's the only thing I really like to be. I know it's crazy." Once you read this story and hear Holden's unique views on life, you will never see the world in the same way. In Holden Caulfield, J.D. Salinger created an irresistible anti-hero that we can't help but compare ourselves to. The only question is, can Holden find himself in a world in which he doesn't feel he can belong? To find out, read The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger.